So we are live with David Neff, and I am going to link David's channel in the description. And I'm waiting for, oh, actually we went a minute early. How about that? We're early. So how are you this morning?
I am doing all right. How about yourself?
Pretty good. I got a bit of a cough, but that's kind of usual for the amount of pollen I have out in the world.
Here. My allergies are really bad this season.
Yep. And then I decided to I decided to grow a batch of jewelweed. I let it grow out in my yard. You know what jewelweed is?
I'm sorry?
Jewelweed.
I have not heard of it.
It's also called touch me not because when you touch the pods, they blow up. The bean pods blow up and shoot the seeds out. Anyway, the pollen from them, I think, was just killing me. So we got a mutable here.
Interesting.
But
hey, what's going on?
He's unmutable.
Unmuted. There we
go. Okay, and this is muted. Good. So we're okay. We're rolling. Got everything figured out?
We are.
Yep.
We're alive and moving.
So, so you said you were doing some music stuff?
Yeah, I'm actually a music major and I play piano, and
okay.
I'm working on some classical stuff, and I'm also working on some Disney music. So that should be coming out pretty soon.
Okay, I just got one thing to do here, and I'll try to be less distractible. Let's see, save chat. Oh, we have Icarus. Okay. I can't see any chats. Totally disorganized this morning. So
Let's not get special.
Irrefutable proof for evolution. So
oh god.
Tell me about that. That's one of David's videos.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Sure. So as I was reviewing my conversations with standing with the crowd, I kind of realized that there were only 3 major issues that we really disagreed on. And those are what are the extent of common ancestry, whether or not all organisms are related, or whether only certain organisms are related. So that is what the Irrefutable Proof for Evolution series is discussing about. And the other 2 issues are the timescale and whatever role God may have played in the origins of the universe and the origins of life. So my goal is to kind of tackle these 3 issues in various from in 3 different series.
Okay.
So this one is discussing the first one kind of discussed. Okay, this is what evolution is. This is speciation. Speciation happens. We know that evolution is true because it's an observable fact. And the second installment of the series is going to be talking about baraminology and why the notion of created kinds is just complete and utter bullshit. There is no taxonomic level for which the word created kinds has any coherent meaning. And what I have found, and you will see this in the second video, is that creationists often gish gallop, and they're constantly moving the goalpost when it comes to what a created kind is. And let me just give you just one example. Let me pull this up.
Yeah,
I'll give you a really good example.
Is that you immutable?
It's not secret.
Unfortunately.
So are you pulling up a screen, Dave?
Yeah, I am pulling up the screen, and I'll show you a perfect video, a perfect example of a creationist moving the goalpost on the created kinds. And he is, of course, our very best friend, Kent Hovind.
Oh God, I love Kent Hovind, but he's Lord, he's a trip.
Oh yeah, let's take a quick look at this.
Plus 180, who said I had misrepresented her. He was right. He sent me a clip of Hovind debating students at Berkeley.
The Bible says if they can bring forth, that is, reproduce, they're the same kind. It could be that animals have diversified, like Alaska rabbits and Florida rabbits, and no longer interbreed. But they're still obviously the same kind. They could originally interbreed.
I hope
Okay, so you can see how Kent Hovind quickly shifted the goalpost from a created kind or organisms that can interbreed, which are, of course, the biological species concept, and then he switched it to organisms that could originally interbreed. So the obvious question is, how do we tell which organisms are able to originally interbreed?
Yeah. Did I echo? No, I didn't.
Don't think so.
Oh, okay. I thought I echoed. So, yeah, they don't like intense discussions about kinds. That's for damn sure.
No, I don't think they can give a really cogent definition for what a kind is, like where one starts and where
Right.
it stops.
The other thing they don't care for is when you point out to them that when Adam and Eve were created, they had a bottleneck of 2. And then after Noah's flood, every single animal that wasn't the pure kind or whatever had a bottleneck of 2 also. And animals have an amazing high amount of diversity and heterozygosity or whatever. There's a lot of alleles. So there's a lot of diversity in a lot of animal species. They don't like to talk about that.
No, they don't.
And not only that, but species. And I mean, so we've got species. We've got this massive, rapid speciation, and also rapid mutation that had to happen in order to account for what the animals are today. So they like to talk about humans only, because humans, had that out of Africa bottleneck, and we were a pretty small population, so they can get away with a lot of crap with humans.
Oh yeah, and before we get into that, let me just read another thing about the issue of created kinds. This is directly from Answers in Genesis. Because none of the original ancestors survive today, creationists have been trying to figure out what descendants belong to each veramen in their varied forms. Veramen is commonly believed to be at the level of family and possibly order for some plants and animals. On rare occasions, a kind may be equivalent to the genus or species level. In other words, the Answers in Genesis there just kind of went down from species all the way up to an order. So again, they kind of admit right off the bat that there is no taxonomic or cladistic coherency to the word kind.
Yeah. And so all cats are the same kind. Are there any borderline cats? There's borderline dogs, like hyenas. And what are the other borderlines? The other things that kind of fuzz the lines a little bit.
Right.
Canid?
Yeah, Canidae, I believe.
Canidae.
Yeah, and a good example, I guess, of canid would be we have their dogs and dog bears in the fossil record. So what veramen would they belong to?
Yeah.
Well, what's curious is they'll consider cats and I believe it's lions part of the same clade, even though they're much more genetically different than humans and apes are to each other.
Yeah, and another issue with the whole art hypothesis, if you can even call it a hypothesis, is that we have pretty much all of the extant biodiversity represented in arts within the first couple hundred to less than 1,000 years after the flood. So we have pretty much a maximum of a 1,000 year time frame to get all the biodiversity that we have today, which is pretty much completely impossible. Hyenas are helioforms, and just Walker just said in the chat, plenty of pack cats, all of them Vivirodia. So I probably mispronounced that.
How do you can you spell it in chat?
Yeah, Viviroidae.
I'm looking at Todd Charles Wood's book, Animal and Plant Veramins, and he's got, let's see, he's got cats, Felidae, and I think there's like, he's got 3 pages on them. He does this weird data set thing, and he has these data sets, and it's all statistics, and I couldn't make anything out of his. I mean, he didn't seem to make any claims in his book exactly, which kind of depressed me. I thought he was going to explain kinds to me, but he did not. So, have you heard about that book, Animal and Plant Baramins?
I'll take the silence as a no.
Oh, okay. Anyway, it's interesting. I think Todd Charles Woods, he wrote it in 2008, and he goes through and he's got all the statistics on all the different animal families, and he's got Felidae, a lot of them I don't know. Rhinoceratidae. Cool. I didn't spot that before. Fulcidae, and I'm trying to find canids, and he doesn't seem to have dogs. He didn't do dogs. Why didn't he fucking do dogs? Why would he not do dogs? He did insects. If Bug is here, I don't see Bug. But, oh, we lost David. So his connection must have went. Anyway, I can't make anything out of this book. He's got these charts, and they're taking all of these phenotypic traits, and they're trying to do statistics with them. And they've done a lot of work on this stuff, and they create these charts, but they never actually make any claims. So I'm not entirely sure what in the hell they're talking about. Really interesting.
My internet kind of went down a little bit. I'm kind of having issues. I just
Connection problem?
Yeah, you're good, I think.
Yeah, so this actually just said that the whole order today, which includes gametes, elephants, and all other type of elephant-like animals, is considered an entire created kind. And
Yeah, you're coming through real choppy, I think.
yeah, is this any better?
That's a little better.
That's a little better. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, yeah. Just a walking dish. Proboscidae is a kind which includes all the elephants, like animals, mammoths, and elephants. All of those are considered a created kind. So it's just going to show you how incoherent the word kind actually is.
Yeah. And of course, they don't like to talk about it.
Nope.
So you get along really well with most of them. They haven't blacklisted you yet?
Not yet, but I will say that I really like Standing for Truth, and I love Cookie Saints. Both of them have been quite fair to me, and I really enjoy my conversations with them.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple of times that I thought they were a little unfair to you, but I can't pick it out. I think, and Standing for Truth then brought it up again. I don't know. He asked you something about which was bigger, the mitochondrial DNA or the nuclear DNA, and you got it backwards.
Yeah.
And then he kind of like rubbed it in your face.
I kind of got these terms mixed up. I just kind of was having a brain fart there.
Yep. And that's what it was. And I think he brought it up a little later and he thought it was funny. But I've caught him on so many things that I should clip them all out and put them together in one big long video.
Yeah. The only person from the Brain Trust that I do not like is Raul Matt, and that's simply because of the whole academic fraud that he committed a couple months ago, and his
I remember that.
His lies against Dr. Dan, that really turned me off. I will say this: I do not like Raul Matt.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of logical, plausible, probable either. He's just That man needs some self-centering before he talks with anybody.
And on that raw mat controversy, and I'm going to toot my own horn here. I was the one who they sent that thing to the day before, or the night before. I think I got it from one of Standing for Truth's regulars in chat, and then I went and looked it up. And then the next day on my channel with Dapper Dino, we were looking at it and we were talking about it, and Raw Matt edited it online and got rid of that logo that made it look like he was published. And he did it in real time while we were talking about it. And it was funny as hell.
Oh, yeah. And I love how he put a whole DODI number on there. And of course, when he selected it, didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, and then he edited it out while we were watching, which was incredibly telling. But I don't know what he was trying to do.
Yeah, I think what he was trying to do is he's trying to show that like creationists can also get published in academic journals, even though like anybody who read that paper or like even tried to read that paper could tell it's like, no, that wouldn't have got through at all. Like that paper is just badly written and just not coherent in the slightest.
Not sure what Nathan's saying here. I'm not sure what you were saying there, Nathan. Anyway, what the hell was shit? I lost my train of thought. Train of thought gone. So you guys can have a train of thought because mine is derailed.
I guess so. I mean, I used to like Smokey until he started like getting on this whole like offensive train crap he does.
Yeah, he was he said some shit about me that was completely unforgivable and unsupported. And I will never allow him on this channel or in my chat again because of it. And he's just I don't know, he lies.
Yeah, I do like Smokey Saint, and he's a good person, I think, but I don't like some of his tactics. And again, I do enjoy my conversations. I think we've both been very respectful towards each other.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's just, with me at least, like he likes to assume my positions before I actually like formalize them. Like the time I was in his room, like clarifying what my opinion on the Cuties movie was before, like even though I had said it like a week prior to it, and evidently that conveniently passed their minds.
Yeah, and I hadn't even watched the goddamn movie yet. I think I watched like the first 10 minutes of it in the first video, and then I watched like 50 minutes of it in the second video that we did. And he just went off the deep end on me. But the problem I had with Smokey was not over that. It was over, he had me on with Anthony Maurice, and he started getting into this. He wanted to get into this naturalism argument, and I didn't want to get into it. So I kind of like flipped a few things at him, and then all of a sudden, and then he asked me not to do a video, and I did it anyway. And then he came because I wouldn't listen to him, because I did a comeback video on Anthony Maurice.
Well, because we clarified like your point you were trying to make.
Yeah, because they were making fun of me with this pudding thing and with the seed thing. And so I wanted to clarify what the hell was going on. And Smokey warned me not to do that. As soon as I wouldn't listen to him, all of a sudden I was a trash clown. And he just came at me with everything. And you want to be careful. There will be a point where you'll say something and you may end up on that same list. And it is a slap in the face when it happens, because he can be so nice prior to that and then so cutting after that. It's just like it flips. And I really don't care for that. And he's not really relevant to evolution, so he really doesn't concern me. The only thing, he did a debate. Was that a debate with you on naturalism?
Yes.
It was,
yeah,
right?
That's what I debated. I really enjoyed that debate. It's actually, I would say, one of my personal favorite debates. The only thing that I don't like is I had a 4-minute presentation. He had like a 20-minute presentation. But he even admitted that kind of was a little bit unfair in the comment section. But he did give me, to his credit, he did give me plenty of time to try and respond to all of his points. So I used a much longer opening but I tried to keep it as short as possible so we have more time in the open discussion.
Yeah, what I liked about that was the one place where Smokey did some content that I'm interested in, because he put out his argument in 3 points, and I listened to that much of it, and I haven't listened to the rest of the debate yet. And I'm going to have to try. I'm going to try to do that today, because I thought that was very interesting. The way he talked about, like, when he was talking about naturalism, he was talking about methodological naturalism, which kind of surprised me, because that's not a metaphysical position. That's a method in science, right?
No, it's a pragmatic position.
Pragmatic position, but it's not a metaphysical position.
No, it isn't.
Yeah. So a metaphysical naturalism is not the same as methodological naturalism. Like if you go to your doctor, you get an X-ray, he reads the X-ray, he uses methodological naturalism. He does not assume that there was divine intervention in your X-ray. He assumes that if he sees a spot, there was a reason for it, and it was a natural reason, right? That's methodological naturalism. So,
Right.
but he was arguing against that, claiming that was a biased worldview. No, it's a method. I mean, it's a method that we want all of our doctors to use methodological naturalism. I do not want my doctor to invoke magic.
Right, we don't want him to, if I was sick, I would not want him to send me to a Catholic priest to have an exorcism.
Right, yeah, exactly. I want chemotherapy instead. Sorry, I choose chemo.
It's also like really curious because I've heard Smokey say this before, like in terms of like him trying to argue against consensus, because he doesn't actually understand like when argument from authority is fallacious.
Yeah, and when it's not.
And when it's not, because there is actually there's only one instance like where argument from authority is invalid, and that's when the person who's talking is not an authority on their topic.
Right.
Otherwise,
I would actually disagree with that. I would say anytime you invoke, all the scientists agree, you really need to explain why the scientists agree. So I think versus, okay, here are all the experts that agree. Why do they all agree?
Right.
And it's because of these issues.
Well, sure. I mean, the thing is, though, is like there should be virtue like behind like why consensus agrees, and that's why I say like the reason consensus is true isn't because people say it's true. It's because like of the thousands of papers that are cited for the consensus, and like why these people are coming to these conclusions. But even so, like the logical structure of argument from authority isn't fallacious, as Smokey likes to claim. Like that's logic 101.
Hang on a second, I'm sending an email. Okay, so have you watched any of Stanning's latest videos that he's put out in the last few days?
I honestly have not. He's been putting out a ton of videos every single day, and it seems like he's been publishing book after book after book.
Yes, I just ordered another book. It's coming Friday, his latest one, Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
I have a copy on, I got a Kindle copy too. I already have that.
From what I've seen from Dr. Dan's review, is that it's a disorganized mess and an editor's nightmare.
Yeah, they really are hard on Dr. Dan.
Yeah,
I think they're hard on Dr. Dan because he's very confident in what he says, because he knows his data field very well.
Right, and I love
Smokey. He doesn't like that. Smokey doesn't like that either. I've noticed that when I talk to Smokey about chemistry or stuff like that, because he'll bring up James Tour, and I've listened to some of James Tour stuff, and it's a laugh.
Oh,
like listening.
Actually, Professor Dave Explains actually did a fantastic video responding to Tour.
Because Tour brought up some points that were just like completely out of left field. Like Cornizaro reaction or something like that, which for those that don't know, it takes place under like conditions that aren't expected of the early Earth, so nobody knows why the hell he brought that up. And it's like, well, good thing that's not what people thinks. Good thing that's not what people think about the early Earth, so it's irrelevant, like that reaction particularly. But the thing is, like, origin of life field is like very, very broad and very open-ended in certain regimes.
Right.
And it's like it's a lot more complicated than like what Anthony proposed as a solution. Just throw the chemicals in a pond and see what happens. It's like, no, that's not how like basic research is conducted. Like that's not how experimental methodology works either. Like it, because Anthony claims like he has a chemistry background, and I'm thinking to myself, you should be ashamed of yourself. Like if you have like a high level chemistry degree, and that's how you think like experimental methodology should be, should be considered. Like that's just bad in terms of like general practice for experimentation.
Yeah. Yeah, and James Tour, well, I'm sure he knows a hell of a lot about chemistry in the lab. Everything he talks about is framed with his biblical understanding of evolution and reality, and he is not an evolutionary biologist, and he doesn't really know anything about it.
The thing is, though, he's
not an authority to me.
And the thing is, like, he's even claimed as much, that he doesn't understand evolutionary biology very well.
Right. He's trying to find for impossibility. Like, in order to disprove abiogenesis, they would have to find some step in the process that's absolutely impossible. Yeah. And instead, they find improbable steps.
Well, and the thing is, like, he's arguing essentially like from personal incredulity. Yeah. It's like, oh, how do these chemicals react like to form these structures? I don't know. No chemist knows. Like, we know how to do it under certain conditions, but we don't know. It's like, okay.
Right. And I see this a lot from creationists. They're always almost always using the incredulity argument. And Dr. William Lane Craig is one of the prime examples, always using incredulity.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, I've never seen, because Standing for Truth has had several people on his channel, like, to talk about, like, abio stuff, and it's like, I've never seen them, like, actually go into, like, some of the chemistry that's relevant to the field, or, like, actually, like, analyze, like, some of the, like, experiments and methodologies that go behind some of these experiments. Because it's like the field is rough. I mean, I wouldn't be like, I don't have a high enough level of education like to go after it that way. But these people who are PhDs should have the education level to like really tear into it if that's what they want to do. And that's how you make like scientific progress, not this like, pissing contest between creationists and people who think creationists are wrong.
So how do you say Paul Feyerabend's name? I believe I have a book by this guy. No Direction mentioned epistemic anarchism, and I'm wondering what the hell he's saying. He's claiming that science is too dogmatic, and this would be something that the creationists would like, I think, but I'm not sure. Use of the term anarchism in the name reflected the methodological pluralism prescription. Purported scientific method does not have a monopoly on truth or useful results.
I don't think scientists have claimed that. I'd like to see where they've claimed that.
Well, I claim that. So
I don't think that's true in the slightest. I mean, I think there's other systems you could potentially use to arrive at truth, but none of them are quite as efficient as science.
Oh, yes. Yeah. There's other ways to arrive at truth. I mean, just reach out and cut something.
You can inductively reason or like deductively reason towards certain things all you want to, but there's a difference between like abstractly arguing like towards the truth of something and actually demonstrating that thing exists. And so far, we only know of one way to do that.
Okay, so he says that he felt that science started as a liberating movement, but eventually became increasingly dogmatic. So in what way? increasingly dogmatic.
And if by dogmatic you mean like very controlled and very like routine in how we conduct science as a practice,
Yeah.
yeah, because you have to have certain ways of understanding if your results are bullshit or if your results aren't bullshit.
Right.
I mean, it's not that complicated.
Well, if you look at abiogenesis, what is being asked of us? That we give up looking or trying to figure it out? I mean, what is their prescription for us? What are they prescribing?
That's the thing, right? Because like even Maddox, when you really drill down with him, like even he'll say like, "Oh yeah, I think the chemistry could do it, but I think it has to be directed." And it's like, okay, but that doesn't make sense.
But you have to
Like,
prove that.
Chemistry, like chemistry either occurs on its own or it doesn't, right? Like there's some reactions we know full well, like that occur only because humans invented those reactions and certain conditions are needed for those reactions to prosper.
Yeah.
But that doesn't appear to be the case like with abio stuff.
Right.
So-
And I don't think science is anywhere near a working hypothesis for exactly how life started step by step, but we do have some fascinating experiments. There was a recent experiment where they produced all the significant RNA bases.
Yeah. Did you follow any of the stuff that Demeter did on our channel? Are you familiar with Demeter?
No, I'm not.
Okay, he's an abiogenesis theorist, and he's a geneticist, and he's been on our channel and he's talked to Otangelo a number of times. But he has
He's also talked with Aaron Ra.
Yeah, he talked to Aaron Ra. He has a theory of abiogenesis that is
Quite
very
interesting.
appealing. That starts in a very basic level with nucleotides and basically shows you how the small RNAs were created, and it's really cool. You ought to check it out if you're interested in abio at all. Are there kids in the background immutable?
No, sorry. My other computer was playing YouTube. I didn't realize it was doing that.
Okay.
Whoops.
Because you're kind of like out of school, aren't you?
Yeah. So I mean, I guess like the question, like, do you think Smokey has any valid points against naturalism, or?
Yeah. We still have you, David?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm kind of going in and out a little bit. You're good now.
Okay. Yeah, I asked, like, do you think Smokey has any valid, like, contentions or, like, valid gripes against naturalism? Like, from your
I'm not
interactions
sure.
with him?
I'll have to re-listen to the debate. I understand where he's coming from. But one of the things that kind of bothered me in the last debate and in my other conversations is that there's no coherent definition for what God actually is. What is God's nature? What does the word God even mean? And this is where have you ever heard of agnosticism or theological non-cognitivism?
Yeah, I think I've heard of that before.
Yeah, that is kind of where I stand with the whole issue of that God exists. The whole idea of God seems to be completely incoherent from the get-go.
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at. The idea of a disembodied mind. Well, the idea of a mind without a body, to do stuff. Like, I don't think a mind could develop without a body.
Oh, I think that's a different conversation, but I disagree with you.
Yeah, because you're wrong. Well, that's one possible reason why you would disagree with me. But
I think the reason I disagree is because I think like there's a fair argument to be made that like the processes of mind, like the things we attribute to like mental processes occurring, like at a physical basis, like we can't distinguish personal experience like from neural activity. And so that seems to me at least to kind of demonstrate that how exactly like those processes occur doesn't seem to be dependent on substrate, as long as those generic set of acts seem to or consistently occur on some matrix. That could be
Okay.
silicon chips. That could be in an ocean somewhere. It doesn't seem to matter where it occurs.
Oh, okay. Multiple mediums, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. But how would you have mind without body?
Well, that's assuming mind is connected to the body.
Okay, I'm not talking about mind. I'm talking about how would you have? Okay, if you had silicon chips and
Yeah.
you built a mind in silicon. Okay, how could that silicon form a thinking mind over time without having some sort of interaction with some sort of physicality, some sort of a consistent
The mind
physicality?
would just be an artifact of the activity on that chip.
And you'd end up with a computer with no consciousness, basically.
But it would appear to have consciousness.
You could make it, you could simulate consciousness, but it would never on its own develop a conscious rapport with you. It would never, because it had nothing to build against.
Okay, but so let me ask you this though: if you put a human in a black box and put and took like various scans of the brain, right? Could you deduce from that whether or not the person was conscious?
Yes.
How? Like what test or set of tests would tell you, like would be the nail in the coffin to tell you that somebody is conscious or if they're not?
There is a certain connectivity between multiple lobes that they've detected, and it's basically a kind of interconnectivity that they can tell that there's a conscious, that there's something conscious going on. They've done it recently with locked-in syndrome, and they've been able to tell based on the type of network that we have a conscious individual.
Okay, but so what you're telling me is that certain neural activity or certain electrochemical gradients interact in a specific way with certain other electrochemical gradients.
Yeah, and they're
Something-
finding that for locked-in syndrome, it becomes dimmer, it becomes less connected because you don't have enough connection to the outside world.
Well, okay, but that dynamic process, like of exchanging electrical gradients, is something that could be simulated on a computer, isn't it?
Could be simulated, but it would not create its own new networks, its own new connections, and its own new ongoing interactions with you. So eventually it would fail because it had nothing to bounce off of.
And you could program the AI to develop and modify its own set of rules, couldn't you?
You could program an AI to work with some virtual world where it could interact with the world. So as long as it could interact with that world, so if it could make changes to that world and see the changes and get into that interaction, then you would have consciousness.
Okay, then it would be conscious by that definition.
Yeah.
Okay.
But how's
So
it
it is possible for
Okay.
So it is possible for something to be like non-biological. So for some like electrochemical process occurring on a silicon chip to
So
exhibit processes that are equivalent to that of a consciousness.
Yeah, you could set up an entire world, but you would almost have to have a computer the size of a world in order to get a rich set of consciousness. Anyway,
Doesn't matter.
but the question is how does a disembodied God do that? How does that make sense? What kind of world are you working with?
If we knew, we wouldn't have the. If we knew, we wouldn't have the answer for it. We wouldn't be questioning it.
God would have to have come up in some sort of a world. He would have had to have developed. So consciousness is developmental. Anyway, we've gotten far afield.
Sorry about that. That's
Yeah. It's a fight we're going to keep having. I suspect for a fuck of a long time.
Does Neff want to weigh in on that? That occurred a little quickly, unfortunately.
Yeah, I would agree with Steve. I don't think a disembodied mind is physically or even possible, since we do know that it's a worlds and consciousness is in the mind and in the brain, and if you turn off the brain, you turn off the consciousness and turn off the mind.
I would say that, okay. I guess the criticism, which I also have towards speed in that case, would be that you're assuming that the process of consciousness is a direct consequence of or is a direct and unique consequence of the biochemical activity therein.
Correct.
And from what I understand, I would say that's not correct.
Yeah, and the kind of consciousness you'd have, like Walker is mentioning evolving algorithms. You know, you could create evolving algorithms in a computer program in silicon, and the evolving algorithms are going to have to get some input from somewhere in order to evolve. There's going to have to be some kind of selection. So
I don't think anybody's arguing otherwise. I mean, of course, they have to have like some kind of electrochemical like stimulus.
Yeah.
But all organisms have that.
You have to have interaction. So what kind of interaction does God have before he creates the universe or creates the world? It would have to be another physicality, which would just be a metaphysical system, which would just be some kind of physical thing. So basically, what I think theism amounts to is that they believe that the universe is contained, like our universe is contained in a bigger universe, and God is some creature in that universe. And he comes down and he creates little universes within his playpen, right?
Yep.
And it just doesn't make any fucking sense to believe that.
And
Well, the other, go ahead.
Realm of Christian theism and stuff like that is that before the universe existed, there was no universe, no time, space, or matter, or any form. And then God created the universe that we have today, just one universe, and he exists outside that universe, which again does not make any sense at all.
Right, because what would he have had as a, like, okay, from the moment I was born, I started putting together things, like poking myself in the eye and touching things and smelling things, and I basically built my mind up, you know, as some sort of a process, right?
I'll be right back. Gonna go get some water real quick.
Okay, so anyway, so it's this interactive. Like, have you ever heard of Marvin Minsky?
I have not.
Okay, I'll put him in chat. Marvin, unfortunately, was involved in that Epstein thing, so don't let his. I don't know how he got involved, but so he's got a. After his death, he has been besmirched. Oh no, I got it. Marvin Epstein. I typed Marvin Epstein. Marvin Minsky, damn it. Okay. Marvin Minsky did this entire series. He did 2 books on basically the development of mind and all the things that a mind has to learn in order to figure out that objects work. You know, that you can like build a bridge with blocks, or you can have one object behind another object, you know, like object permanence. So he had this entire set of really simple things that you have to learn in order to be a mind at all. And it's some very interesting books. You got to check them out. He also did a lot of AI research, and he got into trouble very early on because he thought we were going to solve AI by like 1990. And he was, you know, highly wrong about that. So he got into a lot of trouble anyway.
Right.
And Cafe is here. And Marvin Minsky, but his books are remarkable because he breaks down things like what would it take for an AI to learn how to build a bridge out of, you know, 6 blocks, you know? Right. How would he understand what a bridge was, what a container was? You know, and he breaks it down into these very simple things, and it has a lot to do with developmental psychology. And so anyway, this idea that there's a thinking God out there that thinks like us, the reason we think the way we do is because we're humans on this planet and we have the interactive things that we have. And to think that there's a super being out there that thinks like we do is ridiculous, you know? And of course, they give him superpowers and they think, oh, well, he thinks like he thinks all at once. Like in one little point in time, he can think an entire million years of thought, which is kind of stretching it a little bit, you know, because thinking is a sequential process. How in the fuck do you do that non-temporally, right? So those are the reasons why I'm an why I'm an atheist. A hard atheist is I don't believe in the possibility of this human like tinker, like a human, an anthropic mind being in a being that wasn't even in space-time. It doesn't make sense to me. So
Right, and I totally agree. And when you add the Trinity, it makes even less sense because
right.
three minds, three independent, all-powerful minds that are somehow God, all just one God, which makes absolutely no mathematical sense at all.
Right. How are they? What are they separated by? You know.
Exactly. So the Father is not the Son, and the Son is not the Holy Spirit, but all three of them are gods. But of course, with leads to an absurdity is if we have, like in basic mathematics, if we have A equals C and B equals C, what does that tell you about A and B? That they have to be equal to each other.
Yeah. Yep. So I don't know. So basically, back to methodological naturalism. You've got this thing where you want your doctor to use that today. When you under I produce this picture of a zygote, like, okay, backing up to when I had that talk with Anthony Maurice on Smokey's channel. My question to them was, if you had a seed and the seed turned into an oak tree and you watched it grow into an oak tree, would you have assumed that there was any intelligent design going on to go from seed to oak tree? And to answer me, Anthony Marie said, yeah, but where did the information come from? And I said, it doesn't matter. If God created the seed, to go from seed to oak tree, you're still using nothing but naturalism to basically understand how a seed turns into an oak tree, right? And how did you like when they say, do you think you developed from a single-celled organism? We all did, and it only took us 9 months to do it. And I guess Christopher Hitchens said that. Somebody gave me that yesterday. I think it was maybe Ian. I'm not sure. But anyway, it only took us 9 months to evolve from a single-celled organism to what we are now, right? To babies. I mean, that is a really astounding thing that I think people miss all of the time. There are a million miracles and improbabilities involved in going from a single-celled zygote to a fully formed human baby. And it happens all the time in 9 months, and we can observe it in the lab. So, I mean, how do they account for that miracle? They say DNA, information or whatever. I don't know. So anyway, I was trying to make that point, and then when I said I don't care, maybe God made the seed, they started that's where the conversation went to hell, and they started making fun of me and wouldn't talk to me anymore. So that was the end of the conversation. I was just trying to get them to admit that part of it is completely natural, no intelligent design required.
Right, and really, all of what we have in nature right now, no gods are required because we know that planets and stars form naturally. We know that life reproduces naturally. So what is the need for God other than maybe to kickstart the process? And once you kickstart the process, certainly if you put in the correct rules and parameters, life can start naturally as well with no need for a God generally to even create the first life.
Yeah, and it's just all you have to do, like once you accept that, okay, in the current time we're using methodological naturalism to figure things out, then you go back and say, well, what about yesterday? What about the day before that? So you look at your mom, you look at your grandma, and you keep walking it back. And that's all we're doing with evolution. But did you see what Ben Schwartz said? Can you imagine it going to a faith healing auto mechanic? Actually, some of the mechanics I'd been to have seemed like faith healers.
Yeah, and some of the one of the things that I noticed is all the faith healers that wear glasses. Like, you can heal cancer, but you can't heal your vision.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. Speaking of faith healers, have you ever heard of a guy named Peter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got this big black Cadillac. It's the last big Cadillac that they make, and I love it, and I won't give it up. And it's got a miss in it, and I keep bringing it to the mechanic, and the mechanic keeps saying, "Oh, okay, it's a catalytic converter," and then I pay $1,000, and then he said, "Oh no, it's the coils," and then I pay another $1,000, and it still misses. And I think what he's doing is faith healing. So he has faith in my credit card. Basically.
Sounds like you need a new mechanic.
I think so. Yeah, I take it to the Cadillac dealer and they said, "Oh yeah, we can fix that. It's going to be $6,000." Right?
Yeah.
So I decided, fuck it, I'll just live with the miss because it only does it when I'm at a stop sign, so I don't care. Engine be healed. A gerontologist fructivore. What? Oh, that's raw Matt, right?
Oh yeah, Matt's a fruitarian. Only eats fruits. That
He's
can be
also-
healthy.
He's also a certified gerontologist. If you read his credentials, they're pretty goddamn scary. I think he's doing faith healing himself.
Yeah. What exactly is Raw Matt's game? Because that obviously he is obviously into whole raw food woo. But what exactly does he do? Like with his other medical stuff? Like, does he accept vaccinations and other stuff, or what?
I think he had a little bit of shit about vaccinations, and I ordered one of his early books on healing, and he had a whole bunch of stuff in there about charcoal cleansing and I think rectal charcoal or some goddamn thing. So he's basically a faith healer. He's a pseudoscientist is what he is.
Yeah.
And
And what book is that from?
Oh God, I can't remember. Do you remember what his name was? Because he put his name out there, and I found it on Amazon, and I can't remember the name of the book. Let me see if I can pull up my Kindle.
Let's see if I can pull it up on Amazon.
It's a pretty amazing book. Yeah, he mentions it, but I think it's under his regular name. That's the one with him holding the rock. He's holding a big rock on the cover.
Oh, is it Raw Evolution Gourmet Living Cuisine?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Where's Kindle? Oh, let me see if I can find Raw Matt on this thing. I have so many books on it that I don't think I'm going to be able to find it.
Yeah, that's not it.
Downloaded 9. So if I download a Raw Matt, the Young Earth Creationist signature to sell, placing Darwin. Oh, Dominant Health, it's called. Okay. Let's see if he's got a contents. Yes, he does. Okay. Let's see. Share screen. Application window. Whoops. Is it going to give mine? It's going to. Mike's Kindle for the Mac. It doesn't have my last name, but I guess everybody fucking knows it by now anyway. So anyway, this is it. So here's the contents: enzyme, symbiosis, health is wealth, breatharians. What are breatharians?
People who claim to only live on breath.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's incredibly difficult. Basically, a simple extreme fasting, 4 months on just water and spiral. Wow. So he's done some really crazy shit. Which,
Yep.
Yeah.
And
And
for that book,
what's that?
what is the name of that book?
That is Dominant Health. Dominant Health. You can probably find it. I bought it on Amazon. I think he wrote it with somebody else. I'm not sure. There was some woman involved. Why alternative medicine? Ever wonder why so many people are interested? Let's see.
Yeah, I can't find it on Amazon.
Really? Let me see if I can.
Well, maybe you got it.
Okay, here's the cover. So his name is Matt Naylor. Matthew Naylor?
What's your
Let's see, Amazon. I'll see if I can find a link. Amazon.
Okay, I found it now.
Oh, you found it. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I think it was like
actually,
$9 or something.
Yeah, I see here.
He's got frugivores.
Alternative medicine. Everyone
Yeah.
around so many people are interested in alternative medicine. Yeah. So basically a bunch of new. He's
Yeah.
really, he is really knee deep. He's really almost neck deep into woo woo.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not a book I'd recommend.
Yeah, and it's definitely not a book that I would recommend anyone to follow.
Other essential ingredient: water and mercury are the only two primary liquids found on Earth, aside from lava and plasma, that are separate from plants and bloods. So we must take that into consideration when looking at drinks to buy and consume.
What
Oh,
the fuck?
God.
We are
Don't
literally
drink
liquid
mercury.
organisms. We need to drink water. Should we drink mercury?
Apparently.
Yeah. He's
I'll
actually
watch.
poisonous. Please,
Depending
please
on-
don't drink mercury. Anyone listening, please do not drink mercury.
No, that'll kill you.
No, I don't think he's recommending that, but he makes the point that those are the only two liquids on Earth that are natural. Is that? I don't know. What the fuck? Yeah, he's got a whole bunch of really bad advice in this book: physique and muscle, brain health, autism, parasites, all kinds of
Since
stuff.
says raw mat seems to have a creative relationship with reality.
Yeah, he does.
Just a working fish. If he drinks mercury, that would explain a lot.
Oh God, listening to him butcher science, and then he comes on and they say, "Oh, Matt's here. He's our scientist. He's our professional." And and some of the shit that he says is just so whacked out that that would take a channel in itself to debunk.
Yeah, it would.
I don't care for the word debunk. Actually, it isn't what scientists do to each other. They don't debunk or refute. They, they proceed. Yeah, it used to be. Yeah. When I was a little kid, they used to give us mercury to play with because we'd rub it on coins and they become silver, like pennies. So,
Oh, wow.
for like, here, go play with some mercury, kid. That probably explains why I can't put a video up without getting the audio right.
Right.
Fucking heavy mercury.
We love you anyway.
Yeah. Yep. But I absolutely love it. And then somewhere in here, he claims to have lived for 2 or 3 months by going and just cracking open beehives and eating honey. Like he was in the wild, cracking open beehives and eating honey. And I'm thinking, poor bees. It's just like,
Those bees are going to fuck him up at some point.
I don't know. Professional fight champion, lecturer, formulator of epic elixirs. Okay, look at the byline. And what is ordained Essene? What the fuck is that?
Not a clue.
Anyway,
What?
there's your the SFT's brain trust main scientist. So
He claims to have done boxing, but I'd never found him on boxing.
I'm gonna mute while we're grinding coffee. Am I supposed to be saying something?
I don't know. Are you?
I don't really have much to say. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know what else we can talk about.
I don't think there's anything else. Not for now, at least.
Yeah, we did an hour. Just wanted to get to know you a little bit, David, and maybe connect. And I'll link your channel and we'd appreciate any backlinks so that we can basically collaborate on things. And
of
we're
course,
always
and feel free to.
we're
I would
always
love to do this again.
what's that?
I said I would love to do this again.
Yeah. We're always available if you want to prepare for debates or whatever. We have Molecular Alchemy, who actually works. He's PhD molecular biologist and PhD geneticist, and we have Demeter, and Immutable is a biochemist, and I have learned a great deal about genetics and evolution and population genetics, molecular biology over the course of my life. I know a lot about neuroscience, and so together, we're a resource.
Yeah, and
we kind of like.
we're trying to. Smokey Sane is trying to get me set up for debate in abiogenesis. So
Good luck. With who?
I can't remember the name, but the person, but we spoke about it recently on email, and so perhaps you guys could get me a person
Sure.
to debate prep with me.
Yeah, if you want to do some private prep, just reach out to us on email. Is
sure
it
thing.
Anthony Maurice? Is that who he wants you to debate?
Probably.
Oh my
Oh
God,
God.
that's all things went bad with me and Smokey.
But
Anthony,
let me go back and get me to just look back through my notes.
yeah. Well, good luck with that. Okay, I think I'm going to end this broadcast for now, and we'll talk a bit backstage. Okay. So
All right, sounds good.
okay. Anyway, see you later, guys. We are ending now.